Good morning, good morning. Come on in quickly because I don't want you to miss it. How are you all feeling this morning? You feeling all right? Yay. I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. Sing, choir.
I need you.
Come on in the room.
You need me. We're all a part of God's body.
Stand with me.
Agree with me. We're all a part of God's body.
It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. Sing softly, choir. We've come to this place to be well. I'm a Pentecostal preacher, so when I speak, you have to speak back to me. We come to this place to be well. We are not well when we are not connected physically. And so what I want you to do is I want you to stand up in your seats. And I want you to hug as many people as you possibly can. Go. You are important to me. I need you to survive. Hold on, 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 hold on. Stop hugging for 1 minute. Look at the bishop. Look at the bishop. Look here, look here. Look at, look, 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 look. Look, 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 look. We live in a world that is based on a Snapchat, Instagram, and a Facebook post. When you hug somebody, they have to know that they've been hugged. Come here, mama. Do you understand? We don't want this. Wrap your arms around somebody. Go.
We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part.
Wrap your arms around somebody. It is. Wrap your arms around somebody. Wrap your arms around somebody.
Are important to me. I need you to survive.
Yes. Wrap your arm. Parts. I need you.
You need me.
We're all a part of
God's body. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part of God's body.
It is His will.
Every need
Now hold their hand. Hold somebody's hand. Hold somebody's hand. And the song says, I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. Hold his hand. Hold her hand. Hold somebody's hand. I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. Yes. I love you. I need you to survive. I love you. I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you. Hold somebody's hand. Blessings. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. Let's go up, Mika. I need you to survive. I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I love you and I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. I pray for you. And you pray. We pray. I pray and you pray. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to. Acapella, bring it, choir. I pray for you. And you pray for me. I love you. I love you and I need you to survive. I won't dare harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important. You are important to me. I need you to. Come on and clap your hands. Hallelujah. I need you to survive. Hallelujah. 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 Come on and clap your hands. You feel better? And you may be seated. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your gratitude. Thank you for your ability and willingness to share. So we are light. We're light walkers. We came to this experience because we have taken on the responsibility to change the world. And what does a man do with the light? Does he hide it under a bushel? Absolutely not. He puts it on a candlestick on the top of a hill that it might illuminate the entire world. And that's what we've been called to do, is to light the entire world. So as we connect with one another, especially in settings like this, I put the battery in your back, you put the battery in my back, and we go forward. And we let it shine.
เลยเนาะ
Go, go.
Wow!
Thank you.
Wow!
Yeah!
Wow! That was Bishop Chantal Wright with Songs of Solomon. Thank you. Wow!
Thank
Wow!
you so much.
And before that, there was a performance by Loretta Aramandi from Bilbao-based concert organized. Thank you so much. The power of music and
We were
healing.
trying to dance backstage.
Yeah, we were all
But they told us we were
dancing.
distracting you guys and pulled us back. But
Wow!
we kept the dancing going.
I'm going home, baby.
Are you kidding me?
To my
Oh, man.
heart. To my heart, huh?
It's almost as good as it's. I mean, better than Carnival. I
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Really, yeah, because there's ascension. I love that.
So this is the last day of our gathering. And there's so many layers of conversations we've already had. You know, we went to our minds and body and hearts, and we heard so many disciplines talking about the same issues from a different perspective. Well-being and the holistic aspect of what is whole-being means. So I invite you, as we about to enter into our last main session, is to really go home to our hearts, accept the invitation. And that's where the home is. You know, when I experience that, I say, I arrived to my heart center. I arrive to my heart center. So may you arrive into your heart center every day, every single day, and integrate all that we have learned into, as you go home to your country or company or government or organization or what have you.
I agree with you. And one thing I've learned, and that I'm using a lot here, is to savor. I learned about, I wish all of us can take all this experience home and savor it every moment we can. Because when we do that, we come back, we invoke back all these moments in our hearts and in our minds and in our souls.
And there are different ways to savor. There's a savor through dance, as we just did, right? All on our feet, feel our body move. Right? Yeah, that was good. But there's also savor that comes from being quiet and being still. And so as we get into this next part of the discussion, it is important for us to remember we are incredibly lucky to be here in beautiful Bilbao, safe Bilbao, amongst friends, colleagues, and people who think like us. But that is not the case for everybody. So as we get ready for the next conversation, I will ask all of you to just kind of settle in your seat, put both feet down, firmly planted in the ground. You know that those goosebumps you got from that singing? Feel them on your skin. Feel that energy. Hold it, contain it. Kind of loosen your shoulders a little bit. Close your eyes if you want to. Put your arms in a place that feels rest and silence and stillness. Next on stage is Zalast Halamzai. She's the CEO of an organization called AMNA, which she founded and currently leads, focused on the refugees from Afghanistan and other displaced people. She is Afghani herself, and in her work in thinking about and advocating for the rights of refugees, very much recognized mental well-being and just full well-being being so integral to people being able to find themselves and be centered. And so in our stillness and in those moments, and as we savor, let us hear her story.
Good morning. In the early 2016, at the height of the refugee crisis in Europe, I traveled to Greece to set up AMNA, an organization that provides psychosocial care to people displaced by conflict. Our work began in a small village on the Greek-Macedonian border, where 15,000 refugees had been stranded by the recent EU-Turkey deal. Children and families were stuck with nowhere to go. The camp looked as if it had sprouted overnight from nowhere. There were no facilities. People burned garbage to keep warm, and every small task, from having a shower to making a meal, was an ordeal for the people who had ended up there. Our aim was to set up a safe space. We weren't offering anything other than a listening ear. We set up a tent, and outside we put a simple sign, an invitation to come in and talk to us if that's what they wanted to do. On our first day, I held my breath. I wasn't sure if people would come in, given they had so much to deal with. But to my surprise, they did. First, it was a few men, then children, then families. People came from morning to dusk, sitting in a circle and talking, sharing intimate parts of their lives with us and with the group. There were stories of loss and nightmarish violence. And there were stories of courage and of the extraordinary human capacity to endure the worst of things and come out on the other side capable of joy and of compassion. Day after day, people came and shared the reason they had left their homes, the moment it had all become untenable. Sometimes it was the threat of violence, violence nearing, and the fear of losing someone that you love. Sometimes it was because that's what had already happened. But it was almost never a calculated decision. People had been caught up in situations where ordinary life was made impossible. And as they talked, in the simple act of witnessing another human being's pain, something would shift, and we would all feel a little lighter. Suffering, though acute, was shared and validated and cared for in our little community. In the evenings, I would pack up and go back to my hotel room and switch on the news. And a very different story about the same people would be on display. The news channels played stories that made people afraid of the new arrivals. Politicians talked about swarms of immigrants invading Europe, a conspiracy to displace European culture. There were debates about real refugees and economic migrants. Did they really have no choice was a question that was asked over and over again. Very little that I saw on the news reflected what I had witnessed in my day in the camp. On the news, there were no stories about why the conflicts that were displacing people were happening in the first place. No mention of the war on terror and the 40 million people it had displaced. No mention of the drones that buzzed over villages, keeping people in a constant state of fear. There was nothing to explain how years of relentless violence impacted individuals or a family. There was no discussion about how violence humiliates and diminishes whole communities. Nothing about the way children remember violence in their bodies. It frightened me to see how distant and disconnected the reality of the refugees that I worked with was from the communities where they were seeking sanctuary. There were no shared stories, no shared understanding about what was happening. Yet I knew from my own life, my own experience of displacement, that most people, when confronted with the reality of what had made my family leave our home, responded with understanding. When I felt safe enough to share my story, I saw the difference it made in people's perception. When I told them why we had left Afghanistan, they understood the reasons why my parents had made the difficult choice to take their 5 children on a 4-year journey to find safety. What if people could connect with refugees as ordinary people, caught up in circumstances outside of their control? What would happen if refugees could share their stories in their own way, to bridge this gulf between how people saw them and the reality of their situation? Could witnessing and honoring another person's suffering help to lessen it as it did in our groups? 2 years ago, we set out to work on a storytelling platform that enables refugees to tell their stories on their own terms. We wanted to create something that combined art and authentic storytelling in a way that empowered the storyteller and engaged those who wish to understand. The result is Sada, Amna's storytelling platform. Meaning voice in Farsi, Sada is an invitation to step into our world and our lived experience. I'm privileged and honored to launch the platform here with you and share one of the stories, the story of Yasser, a Syrian man whose courage got his family to safety in Turkey. The invitation here is to connect with Yasser and understand his choices. Please play the video.
As we waited to leave, I kept questioning whether it was the right thing to do. I was taking my family to Turkey. They had an opportunity to cross legally, and I would try to cross after them with the smugglers. We tried to stay in Syria, but it had become impossible. My parents couldn't come with us. It was the hardest goodbye of my life. The lack of space and bumpy road made my kids uncomfortable, but it distracted them from the danger. When we finally made it to an FSA checkpoint, the soldiers joked that we had to go back. I couldn't believe that they would joke about such a thing. Even though the area we had arrived in was considered safe, there were still airstrikes. My kids would ask questions all the time. My wife and I could only tell them that things would be better soon. When my family's application to cross to Turkey was approved, I was so happy. They would be safe. But saying goodbye at the border was so hard. I didn't know when I would see them again. I didn't know how I would continue to manage without my wife's support and seeing my children. I felt so lonely.
In our divided world, shared stories matter. They create a bridge, an opening for a different path away from violence. They can be a step towards understanding, compassion, and ultimately a recognition that we're all interconnected. As the conflict began in Ukraine, I traveled to Poland to set up safe spaces for refugees coming out of Ukraine. And I could see immediately how a connection with another European community had created a far more compassionate and more humane response than what I saw in Greece in 2016. Could sharing and connecting through story stretch our compassion beyond our identities and help us connect to all human beings as one interconnected community? Sada is our offering to the world, a way to sit in our little tent, to listen, to witness, and hopefully to understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Zalash. Remember the prayers, we are all part of the one. When one is harmed, we all are harmed. When one is healed, it creates the path for new healing for all. In Zarsash, the home country, Afghanistan, there are so many people who are still suffering. It's so easy for us to forget. It's so easy for me, who have had the privilege to work in Afghanistan, to forget. And so it's incumbent of all of us to keep that narrative going and not to forget until there is equality, fairness, and justice. And on that note, I have the extreme pleasure to introduce my friend, Kumi Naidu, who is the most brilliant human rights and environmental activist I have ever met in my life. Led organizations from Civica to Amnesty International to Greenpeace. He is the light, he is the torch that keeps the movement going, and he is the one who reminds us that we shall not forget and shall not rest until equality and justice for all humans and all beings and all of Mother Earth is achieved. So help me welcome Kumi Naidu.
Dear friends, I normally start my speeches these days by acknowledging my nervousness, because sometimes when I speak, people ask me the question, have you heard of Martin Luther King? And whether I know what his most famous speech was called. And I respond in a gentle voice, I have a dream. And they shout back at me, yes, it's I have a dream, but when we hear you speak, it sounds like you have a nightmare. The forests are disappearing, the oceans are rising, inequality is on the rise, and so on. Herein lies one of the greatest challenges to our well-being right now. How do we speak truth to power on the one hand, but how do we do it in a way that does not demotivate, depress, and demobilize people? Today though, sorry, please don't clap. I got a very strict time limit. They've given me 10 minutes. Today though, inspired by Louisa's vulnerability from the opening plenary, I'm going to follow her example, so I'm even more nervous. Oh, and for those of you who have not figured it out, I'm the Kumi that she referred to in her speech. I experienced my first trauma at the age of 7 when I lost my baby brother. My mom, partly as a result of not receiving any support for the loss and problems in a marriage, would take her own life at the age of 38 when I was 15. My elder sister Kay was 19. And when you're 15, 19 is very, very old. And she stepped into the role with amazing generosity and love in the absence of my mom. At the time of my mother's death, I was already becoming politically active against the apartheid system. An older activist said to me, I don't know how you recover from this, my son, but one thing that might help you is if you live your life with purpose and always seek to stand for justice and dignity for all people. I guarantee you, whatever pain you are feeling, the There are people in our country and there are people in the world that are suffering so much more. I took this seriously, and my mom's death accelerated my involvement in the liberation struggle. I was expelled from school the following year for my efforts, a trauma in itself, since far too many people said, your mum must be turning in a grave from watching you sacrifice your education. For the next 3.5 decades, I tried to live with purpose and found it easy to stay focused on various struggles for justice, even though the world of privilege had become accessible to me after the Rhodes Scholarship Selection Committee in South Africa somehow made an error and gave me a scholarship to go to Oxford. In 2017, I was headhunted by Amnesty International for the role of Secretary General. I interviewed for the position on 17 December 2017. As I was going into the interview, my niece called me to say my sister Kay had been diagnosed with brain cancer. I was at her bedside 34 days later when she left us at the age of 56. I was completely broken at the loss of my sister, but the fact that I had not dealt with my mother's suicide resulted in the scab around her death being broken, and it felt as if I had lost my mum and my sister together. The only treatment I got at the time of my mother's death was being given sedatives and strong sleeping tablets. As when my mum died, I was placed in a situation where I had to be strong for my siblings and nephews and niece now. Before my sister passed, Amnesty International had already announced the appointment. The possibility that I should have paused and said I cannot take on such a heavy burden after such a massive loss just did not occur to me. Instead, together with my nephew, my sister's elder son, and Louisa, we poured our grief into supporting the Nelson Mandela Foundation in a climb up Kilimanjaro such that we would summit on Nelson Mandela's 100th birthday. I'd already realized Amnesty International was going through immense trauma as a result of a respected senior colleague having taken his life in the Amnesty office, saying in his suicide note that the organizational culture and the lack of support had led him to take this decision. This was followed by a young intern also taking a life 2 weeks later. Given that my mom's suicide was now resurrected as a result of my sister's death, instead of seeing this as a moment of pause, I saw it as, okay, I figured I know about suicide and I can help Amnesty come out of this. After I joined, I effectively had to do 2 full-time jobs. Doing the external representation, which should have been the main and primary thing that I would do in that role. But given that the previous management's credibility was, I would say, unfairly challenged, I had to do a considerable amount of the internal work that was needing to be done, including addressing the well-being of colleagues within Amnesty. But the most painful thing that I had to do was to work with the 2 families to help them heal from the horrific loss they had suffered. People seem to have judged that I had done well in this responsibility, with some even saying that my own personal suicide history had helped me deal with it with maximum empathy and sensitivity. Once again, I totally underestimated the toll this was having on me. Of course, working on human rights at a time when we were suffering serious setbacks, the rise of fascism in the United States and Europe and elsewhere, also added to the stress. Seeing suffering with one's own eyes or having to deal with it on a daily basis, not just for me, but for all my colleagues at Amnesty, is something, and people working in other organizations, we have not done really well at addressing. We have underestimated the impact of secondary trauma, and this has had lots of consequences. A few months into the job, I visited Iraq and Syria as part of getting the US and the UK governments to take responsibility for the massive loss of civilian lives as a result of indiscriminate bombings. The only thing different with what's happening in Ukraine right now is that we're having multiple Raqqas and multiple cities. But just to be clear, the UK, US, and NATO also carry complicity of exactly the same kind of behavior. I had to visit a mass grave in Raqqa, where bodies were being carefully exhumed by volunteers. Volunteers. Nobody paid them. Not the UK government, not the US government, who were in control of Raqqa at that time. One of the bodies was of a woman who was the height of my sister. We knew it was a woman because of her long hair, since hair apparently takes longer to decompose compared to human flesh. I was completely devastated. But I was leading a 4-person delegation in one of the most unsafe places in the world. I had to be strong. In fact, the head of the Raqqa government who met with us, when I walked in, she said, "Oh, I thought the head of Amnesty International would come with 12 security guards." It was their way of saying, don't overplay your role while you're here. We are following you. We got you under control. Soon, the pressures of dealing with the trauma of the suicides within Amnesty, my sister's recent death, the resurrection of my mom's suicide, the fact that I had taken on huge responsibility for internal processes at Amnesty meant that I was working 20-hour days and I was on a perpetual sleep deficit. This took a toll on me, and my hypertension, which I had dealt with after preparing for Kilimanjaro. When I came down Kilimanjaro, I was the healthiest I'd ever been in my adult life. Medication failed to control it, and eventually friends back home said I was being irresponsible. And I quote, "You're going to have a stroke or be dead in months at the way you are carrying on. The responsible thing for you to do is to stop, recalibrate your life, deal with the trauma you have not dealt with, then maybe you can contribute for another decade or so." Put in these words, which were telling me I was being politically and socially irresponsible, gave me the courage to make one of the bravest decisions I ever made, offering my resignation to what is seen by some, especially in the global north, as one of the most important positions in civil society. I then started a process of healing. Everything from learning to breathe again, doing breath work, which I didn't know such a thing existed. I think a lot of people here know about breath work. I just discovered it a couple of years ago. Meditating for the first time, doing yoga while I was stuck alone in London during lockdown, and waking up Louisa through Zoom so she would join me in those 1-hour yoga sessions because she knows more about yoga than I do. An important part of this healing process was also seeking non-Western, indigenous forms of healing, which colonialism unsuccessfully tried to wipe out, and working with mainstream healing work. Sorry, it's only 3 minutes left. With non-mainstream healing work that draws on ancient wisdoms and indigenous knowledge. The most important part of my healing process was writing a letter to my mother, telling her what happened in my childhood, years since she has passed, decades since she had passed. The process of the writing was painful, and for the first time I really cried for my mom's loss every time I sat down to write during lockdown. On the morning of 23rd February this year, when Louisa called me to say that our son Ricardo had committed suicide, just after a week when he called me to share things that were troubling him. None of what was troubling him was private. Everything was in the public domain. It was about the needless loss of life he was seeing around him in our own country, the corruption, the inequality, the concerns around the environment and running out of time on climate change. He also, in this conversation, insisted that he wanted to thank me for things I had done to support him before he had become successful and famous. I called Louisa later the day to tell her how we had spoken for 90 minutes, and even though it started out sad, we ended up laughing when, because he insisted on going through his list of things to thank me, at the end I said, "Actually, since you insisted, you forgot one important thing from the list." And then he said, "Yeah, I'm sorry for completely writing off and smashing your car, and thank you for not being too freaked out about it. And he promised to come and visit me with the family during the Easter holidays, with the family in Berlin, where I was based on a fellowship at that time. The gentle and caring manner in which Louisa broke the news added to my desperate sense of guilt. How could I have not figured out that was Ricardo's last call? How could I have been so stupid? Why would he be thanking me for all of these things out of the blue? I can say safely that I would not have survived if it were not for the internal work I did since my resignation from Amnesty International. So to conclude, what is my sense of the activists who said to me when my mother died, live with purpose and things might be okay? He was right. I strongly believe that the core of that advice was correct. And I'm grateful to him for that advice. However, it lacked an important ingredient. He should have added that I do not have to be apologetic about taking care of my well-being. I hope to continue my activism, in big part through the Ricky Rick Foundation for the Promotion of Artivism, but I will no longer be ashamed or apologetic for taking care of my own well-being. When I was fleeing South Africa into exile at the age of 22, my best friend Kumi Naidu asked me a question. What is the biggest contribution we can make to the cause of humanity? What is the biggest contribution we can make to the cause of humanity? Giving our life, I replied. He said, you mean going, getting shot and killed and becoming a martyr? I said, I guess so. Sadly, that conversation was the last I had with Lenny since he was murdered 2 years later by the apartheid regime. What he was saying is that the struggle for justice is a marathon, not a sprint. And we must stay the course and take care of our well-being along the way and understand it is not only a personal responsibility, but is also a social responsibility for activists and others who are acting in the public interest. This time you can clap. Okay, not so much. We have tough times ahead. Our well-being will be challenged like never before. It will take us resisting the cognitive dissonance of those in power, turbocharging intersectionality, recognizing that the worst disease humanity faces is not COVID, but a disease we can call affluenza, and embracing what Martin Luther King called, when he called for creative maladjustment, and therefore not conforming to a badly broken status quo. And to Louisa, thank you for the courage on Wednesday and for inspiring me to have the courage to share what I did today. Muchas gracias, merci beaucoup, asante sana, kiabonga, kakulu, shukran. Thank you very, very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
We can't change it now. She's coming after. Tell her to be ready.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brava. Good to see you, man.
Wow. There's a prayer that goes, I dedicate myself to awareness, to the path that leads to awareness. My family and friends, we are suffering and awakening together. My family and friends, we are suffering and awakening together. And unless we have the courage and the to authentically show up in all of our story like Kumi has just showed up. Each time we do that, we pave the path of healing for others. Each time we become the light in someone else's cave. I'm a believer in the path of healing. I've seen it, I've witnessed it in myself and others. I believe we can, and there's sometimes big work to do to healing, and then sometimes it takes some knowing Wellington to do healing.
Well, thanks for the responsibility, but in listening to Justin and talking about breath, made me remember the first time a child asked me, am I going to die? And we all knew that that was going to happen. And I thought, oh my God, I can't lie to her. And then, that minute, my partner, we work in partners so that one helps the other, she did like this. So I took a deep breath, and instinctively I started to kneel down just so we could be eye to eye. And the minute my knee hit the floor, the first question that came out of my mouth actually, was, what do you think? And she says, I think, yeah, but I heard that God's going to be there waiting for me. And I know I'm going to see some friends, and it's going to be okay. I was so relieved, and then I started to add stuff that was not necessary, and she just said, okay, show me what you got there, and let's move on.
Yeah.
And so that was a great lesson, and I'm very honored to be able to share that, because another thing I learned is when we share a story about someone who passed away, this person is alive and bright right here with us.
Absolutely.
So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share that.
And that sharing becomes such an important part about living our life in our fullness and in our well-being. Many of us, I come from the African culture where men have to be strong and powerful and we don't cry, like many cultures. But when I went through my challenges last year, my dark time last year, it really made a difference to be able to share. And I think there are many people in this room who do this as a profession, people who are therapists, who provide support to others. I would honestly ask, if you do anything like that, if you could just please put your hand up and I'll tell you why. So everybody just take a look around. Anybody who is going through a moment of struggle, just keep your hand up actually. Thank you for putting on the house lights. Anybody who's going through a difficult moment or a struggle, pick somebody who hopefully you know, you can put your hands down now, hopefully you know, or somebody you've seen, and literally have that first 5-minute conversation. It's so important to take that first step that just says, I am struggling, I am broken, we are all broken inside, and find a way to take that first step of healing. And I'll give a big shout out to Nancy Mortifi. I don't know if she's in the room. Nancy is the Dean of Inner Wellbeing Programs or the Wellbeing Project. And when I reached out and said, Aaron, Sandrine, I'm struggling a bit, help me, they said, there's only one person you need to talk to. And I think we had 3 Zoom calls. And I started finding myself again. I started feeling lighter on my feet. I started feeling I could talk and engage with people purely because of that. So if anybody's in the room and feeling a bit of that struggle, take that 5 minutes for that first conversation, and then let the healing begin. Okay? Can we agree we'll do that? Fantastic. Yeah. So to get us back onto program, we have Jasmine Williams, who is standing on the wings, who's an author and a poet, and she will read out a draft declaration of well-being, a well-being declaration, to share with you as almost something that you can put a stake through and say, this represents what well-being is and what we want to be. So onto stage, I'll welcome Jasmine. Come, Jasmine.
How long is this going to take?
Hello. It is my great honor and pleasure today to share with you the Declaration of Well-Being, written by Anne Mortifi, with the thought partnership of hundreds of people from around the world. Anne had an incredible task of distilling so many thoughts around what well-being means and what it means to the summit. And I will be sharing first her manifesto and then my own piece. A spirit of promise is calling us inward to see ourselves clearly, to heal what needs healing and bring harmony back to the earth. We feel it in the depth of our nature and rise to the call of life's urge to evolve. We are pathfinders, caregivers, weavers of dreams, pilgrims on a journey to discover the self. From every walk of life, every faith, race, and culture, the sounds of our footsteps are heard. Inspired by the ones who traveled before us, we press on for the ones yet to follow, moved by an ancient wisdom of a more compassionate world. We seek well-being for all of creation, for love and justice, peace and truth, to thrive and enliven us all. We have learned that the light which ignites the stars is the same light that flows through all things. We are sparks in the body of a mighty creation, born to imagine what once seemed impossible. Together, we cast a rainbow of hope, kindling thoughts and ideas to quicken, unfold, and transform. From deep, deep within, we know we belong to this dream that is wanting to be. Adventure with us, and with patient resolve, we will heal our own hearts to bring health to the whole. We are warriors, advocates, lovers of truth. We are change makers, storytellers, bringers of beauty. We commit ourselves to being well and at peace for this vast, most mysterious world. Thank you, and Marti, who is not here today, but we thank you in spirit. And we feel you so much. Sorry, I'm a little out of order. "97% of human DNA is shared with stardust. In our very fingertips are 4 billion years of supernova deaths and rebirths that traveled at the speed of light, carrying in their dance between comets a paintbrush dipped in evidence of consciousness that culminated in these bodies on this earth. Holding a celestial wisdom so ancient, humanity begs the question, why here? Why now? Why me? We spend our lives uncovering the answers, moment by moment, falling in love over and over again, each time remembering more of who we are. Like lifting the veils off of souls only to find clear mirrors beneath deep-bellied laughs, shared over evening meals, uncensored elders and babies taking their first steps, and sometimes with even more subtlety, like the sweet fragrance of a stranger that fills your lungs in brisk passing, reminding you how easy it is to belong to one another, even if only for a second, moving us closer to a truth that requires no breaking discovery or degrees or wars in its name. Truth only requires remembrance. You know it when you hear it because it feels like light in your eyes. Like a world could emerge through your throat. Like waterfalls could cascade from your resting shoulders. Like the wind in your ears, riding a bike for the first time, your fingers slipping between the hand you love. Like walking out of a storm into a warm living room. Like coming home to the aroma of your favorite dinner. It feels like coming home. Truth feels like coming home. The one all humans come from, the one that speaks in a currency of love and connection, transcends corruption, defies fear and greed and violence, and says with all its light that the pursuit of power paid for in blood is a waste of an incarnation. And yet apathy is not of the sky. So truth seekers and caretakers, dreamers and nation builders and reformers, we meet the world at the crack of its eye to whisper in a tongue unique to our purpose, there is nothing the descendants of stars lack.
Billions of years of space and time are held in our frames, with resources beyond our wildest vision boards and ROIs, beyond oil and diamonds and exploited labor, larger than global hunger, bigger than burnout and sacrificial salaries. We are connected to the source, activated by rest and nourishment and the caress of silence between bursts of inspired awareness and deaths of dogma and ego. These bodies we inhabit are worthy of love and grace, matching intentionality of stars we come from. We are worthy of all that we so passionately pursue for others. In fact, quiet is kept. Our restoration is essential to our remembrance. And our remembrance is essential to our freedom. And as we become more free in ourselves, we slowly free the world, bearing witness to the miracle of one another like comets, illuminating the dust that flew off the Big Bang to travel to the edge of the universe for 4 billion years and create us.
Beautiful. Wow. Wow. Hard to transition from this. So I'm going to borrow Rumi's words. Rumi is a 13th century Sufi poet. I'm sure you've heard me already speak about him, but he says, today I'm going to quote, dance when you are broken open. Dance in the middle of the battlefield. Dance when you tore your bandage off. Dance in your blood. Dance when you are completely free. And I use these words to introduce our next more than speaker, Justin Michael Williams. Because yesterday you heard him talk about ending racism, and today we will talk about how music can bring us all together. Please help me welcome Justin. Woo!
You're the best. Thank you. Hey again. I'm back. Hey everybody. Thank you. So, how many of you think racism can end? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So yesterday I was so excited with you all that I actually forgot to tell you something really important, and many of you came up to me afterwards and asked, what do we do? What do we do? How do we come together as a collective? What happens? And so I have just something I want you to write down. It's just endingracismtogether.com. And it's a massive collective that we're putting together, and there's a pledge on there that you can just sign the pledge, endingracismtogether.com, and we will do this together. And you will get information there on the book that I talked about that's coming, as well as just how to continue on in the community wherever you are in the world. And if you believe that we can stand together and end racism in this generation, I want you to say yeah. If you believe we can stand together as a collective and end racism with healing in this generation, I want you to say yeah. And then just one more time, because we're having fun, I want you to say yeah. All right, we're awake. Perfect. So I use music a lot in my work. And if it's okay, I'd like to sing y'all a song. But you have to sing with me. And I've already heard y'all singing with Bishop Chantel in the choir, so I know we can do it. And I want you to think of this song. The song is called I Am Enough. And, you know, so often we're so busy in our work that is so important for the world. And we do so much. And we oftentimes get so busy in our doing that we forget that we are enough for being. Just for who we are. And so I'd like this song to be a prayer for that child that's inside of each of us who just wants to know that they are enough. Not for what they do, but for who they are. And so the words to the chorus are, I am enough I am golden, baby, yeah. Okay, try it one more time. I am enough. I am, you can do the move with me. I am golden, baby, yeah. There we go. Okay, cool. Y'all got it. So when that part comes on, you will know what to do. I guess I'll leave this here. Little boy, don't cry. You've been in pain enough. Little girl, don't fight. You're finally safe enough. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you you don't need to hide behind disguise no more. Spread your wings, you're terrified. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. I'm by your side. Here it comes. I am enough. I am golden, baby, yeah. I am enough. Want to try it with me? I am enough. Here we go. I am enough. I am golden, baby, yeah. I am enough. I am enough. All right, when that happens, you'll know what to do. Musica, hit it. Here we go. Hey! Little girl, it's alright. You've taken the blame. Enough. Little boy, don't hide. You've been ashamed. Enough. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you you don't need to hide behind disguise no more. Spread your wings, you're terrified. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. I'm by your side. Here we go, say, I am enough. Hey, I am golden, baby. I am enough. Hey, I am enough. I am enough. You can do the move. I am golden, baby. I am enough. Hey, I am enough. Oh, ooh, oh yeah. I am enough. I am enough. Well-being summit. Come on. Ooh, oh yeah. I am enough. Listen up. I am enough. I am golden, baby. Yeah. I am enough. I am enough. Try this. You are enough. You are golden, baby. Yeah. You are enough. All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to turn to somebody next to you, look them in the eyes, and we're gonna sing You Are Enough to each other. Even if you don't sing it, you can mouth it, but just mean it from your heart. Look to somebody next to you, come on. Everybody, here we go. You are enough. You are golden, baby, yeah. You are enough. Last time, we're gonna go till we are enough. We are enough, hey. We are golden, baby, yeah. We are enough. This is our moment. This is our time. We are enough. We are golden, baby, yeah. We are enough. We are enough. Oh, we are enough. We are golden, baby, yeah. We are enough. All of us together. We are enough. We can change the world. All of us. Come on. We are golden, baby, yeah. We are enough. We are enough. Oh, we are enough. We are enough. I am enough. You are enough. We are enough. And we rise together. And I want you all to just pause for a moment, place your hands Right over the center of your chest, you can close your eyes if you want for a moment, or keep them open and just look up at these beautiful stars inside. And just feel the energy in this room right now. This is the energy and the power and the love and the compassion and all the magic and joy that we get to take back out into the world. Thank you so much for having me. Wellbeing Summit. We are enough. We rise together. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Indeed. That was beautiful. So, wow. Yes, I understand. Yeah, exactly. No need to say much, just feel it and do not control it. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, my dear friends, it is my honor to introduce our next guest. And in conversation, to ask him, is there something you would like to point out in your talk? And he says that all of these practices that we are learning, these are for everyone, indistinctively. Because the most important thing is that we experience peace. Because peace is the place from where we can serve. I'll say that again. Peace is the place from where we can serve, integrate, reflect. So it is my honor to introduce our next guest, Reggie Hubbard. The one and only.
Thank you, Wellington.
Thank you.
In about 4 seconds, the teacher will begin to speak. Let us begin. My name is Reggie Hubbard. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm the founder and chief serving officer of Active Peace. I'm a recovering political operative, probably in perpetual recovery if I'm being honest. I'm a perpetual good troublemaker. Shout out to John Lewis. I'm unapologetically black and proud. I'm a citizen of the world. I'm an heir to the bounty of the struggles my ancestors have made. And I'm a midwife to what common opinion says is impossible. Do you feel me? I'm an organizer and a communitarian, so allow me to explicitly state my desire to connect with any of you that want to connect with me. Most people are shy about this. So I don't normally do this, but if you take out your phone and look at the app, all the things I have are updated. So if you want to stay in touch with me, that's why we're here, okay? So if you want to do that now, I'll do it later. Do it now, okay? Oh, yeah, it'll be 6 months from now. You'll be like, Roger? No, it's Reggie. Y'all know what it is. So this convening is sacred, and it's in that we can't build a movement if we don't purposefully connect. You feel me? So if you want to stay in touch with me, take out your phone, look at the app, and let's get that business, all right? I come before you today with deep gratitude, humility, and a touch of good nerves. You know, I'm human. And I'm honored to have the chance to share with you. And in keeping with my tradition, my lineage as a teacher, I'd like to offer some acknowledgements, if that's okay with you. I'd like to acknowledge the land that I'm on, the Basque Country, and honor the people and the culture both now and then. I'd like to acknowledge my ancestors with whom I am in deep relationship and without whose prayers, faith, and favor I don't exist. So blessings to my ancestors. I'd like to acknowledge the lineages that I hold. So Thai forest tradition and mindfulness, Zen peacemaker order, white plum and Zen Buddhism, the Christian tradition of my family, the lineage of black and brown people across the diaspora, Sri Vidya Hatha, Kemetic Yoga, and the patron saints of active peace, Jimi Hendrix and Prince. I'd like to also acknowledge Pride Month. Y'all can do better than that. Okay? And honor my LGBTQIA fam, and I stand in solidarity with you this month, this day, and in this life. Okay? And I'd also like to share that my intention is to share from the heart, from my experience, and with the cadence of a revivalist, the discipline of a yogi, the compassion of a Buddhist, and the fire of a love revolutionary, okay? Offering you heart medicine that permeates your being, nourishes your imagination, and lights the flame of this movement, allowing us to lead with passion, purpose, and community to disrupt all things that prevent our collective liberation, okay? So if you don't agree with what I have to say, that is your right. I'm gonna, that's the First Amendment of our Constitution of the United States. Freedom of speech, you don't have to agree with me, but just keep an open mind, all right? Ashe, amen. Y'all, if I'm being honest, I never thought I'd be a yogic practitioner. I never thought I'd be a Buddhist practitioner, either like as a teaching practice or as a personal practice. In fact, the first time I was invited to a yoga class, I looked my friend in the face like, I ain't no skinny white girl, why would I do that shit? Not yogic, but hella truthful, right? And y'all, I was a hardcore operative and have been at the presidential level of United States politics since 2003. And y'all know that lifestyle, right? So workaholic, I would drink bourbon for breakfast. I would chain smoke cigarettes for lunch. I would curse a motherfucker out for afternoon snack. And I would eat fast food at midnight. I gained 120 pounds in that lifestyle. I was killing myself, deluded by the fallacy of workaholism to perpetuate social change. So I give deep gratitude to God, Goddess, the ancestors, sages, and saints that I'm here before you to share my story, right? I'm here because I am an activist and a teacher at the same time, right? So I have some pictures to show y'all. So there are two versions of Reggie in this picture. Both of them are smiling. Which one is happy? Okay? The guy in the fancy suit, that's at Joe Biden's inauguration in 2012. The next day I'm flying to Germany to sit with Angela Merkel on some like whatever, blah, 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 awesome, awesome, awesome. That brother's miserable, man. The other guy, yogic practitioner teaching kids, right? So I divorced myself from the notion of overachieving and got into service to myself and then serving from that abundance. So this brother here, right, baby-faced, that was a million years ago. It's in 2006 in Coral Gables, Florida, standing next to then Senator Barack Obama. If you look carefully, look at my ear. It is white. That's stress-induced eczema. That's my body being like, what are you doing, man? Yeah, your suit is great, you're cheesing with this dude, but my body is rebelling against what I was doing, all right? This guy, I worked for Bernie Sanders. I was Bernie Sanders' executive producer in 2015 and 16. The button on my shirt says, "This is my resisting bitch face." Real talk. So, but look at this guy. Healthy, vibrant. That white ear is black and proud, right? And this is in 2018 when Donald Trump decided to jail children and thought it was okay to separate families and stuff. This is at the end of my 200-hour yoga teacher training. 20,000 people are behind me. I'm walking down Pennsylvania Avenue, fist in the air, being like, we ain't going out like that. So in these 4 pictures, I hope that you've seen my journey, right? From like self-destruction to self-nourishment, and then from that self-nourishment, doing crazy stuff. I never thought I'd be leading protests like that. So anyway, in real talk, I didn't start practicing yoga for enlightenment. I started practicing yoga to not curse out my boss, right? But that suffering was the gateway to my liberation. So the acknowledgement of that suffering was the gateway to my liberation. And to make a very long story short, I was in a job, it was terrible, we've all been there. And I was this close to calling this lady MFB, use your imaginations, you know what that is. And I stopped. And the next morning I went to a yoga studio, and through suffering, practiced sunrise and sunset, sunrise, sunset. 10 months later, when they fired me via text message, you heard that right, I bowed before them and thanked them for how poorly they treated me because they gave me the wisdom to handle adversity with grace. That, my loved ones, is what personal practice can do for you. When you nourish yourself and serve from that abundance, ignorance can befall you and you just bow with gratitude. Consistent practice allowed me to create space for my healing, deepen connection to Source, make inner well-being my priority, and share the dividends of that investment with all who cross my path. You can get down with that, right? Some of y'all still may think our mission is impossible, but y'all, I live in the realm of the impossible. I'm a black dude who speaks 3 languages, went to Yale University. So my skeptics, get out of our way and watch us work, okay? And everybody has that person in their family, that cool uncle. Let Uncle Reggie put you on some game, all right? Nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Did you hear what I said? Nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. And with respect to well-being in that intersection, our time is when? I can't hear you. Our time is when? Do you really believe that? When is our time? Thank you. We must be radically honest about our individual and collective mindlessness before we can embrace mindfulness, okay? So let me ask you, if you had a car that you always drove, that you never cut off, you never checked the oil, it was low on fuel, had a flat tire, and then the check engine light was on, you wouldn't be surprised if you never made it home, would you? How many of you treat your body like that car? You don't have to put up your hand. I mean, if you want to be honest, that's cool. Beloved community, well-being is your birthright. Well-being should be foundational, not an afterthought. In addition to the 4 pillars of mindfulness that was shared with us the other day, be present, feel connected, get curious, stay motivated, I would also add rinse and repeat. If you did 1 push-up, you couldn't get upset that you didn't get strong. You have to do this over and over and over again, okay? Well-being should not be an afterthought. Our health and well-being is our birthright, so why do we treat it like a nuisance? Why? We need vigilance regarding our diet as vigilant as we are about having bad breath. The things that we put into our eyes and ears affect our mental health. We need to be judicious with how we use our senses. So some of you may be saying I'm preaching to the choir, but as we heard this morning, if you're preaching to the choir, we preach to the choir for you to sing louder. If our time is now, we need to be singing louder. So to bring this home, I'll make it plain with you. We cannot be at peace and love with one another if we're not at peace and love with ourselves, okay? And furthermore, I submit to you the following. It is impossible to have a fresh idea from an exhausted mind, okay? The wings of imagination cannot soar when burdened by the weight of burnout. But when we nourish ourselves, when we serve from that freedom from abundance, we inspire people with our radiance. We calm the mind toward tranquility. In that alignment, as the elder mentioned, we find the Dharma in our karma, okay? So for my loved ones who still think that you don't have time for this, I'm going to end with a practice. And pardon my candor, but that means one of 2 things. You either ain't serious, let's be real, or you just don't know where to begin, okay? If you ain't serious, I can't help you with that. That's yours. But if you are serious, let's get to work. First of all, Simple practice. Repeat after me. Rest is productive. Two more times. Rest is productive. Third time's a charm. Rest is productive. Find a tall spine, please. And do what you typically do in life, right? So, like, how do you spend hours of the day? Does this look healthy? So first things first, get into the shoulders. Get into the breath. For those of you who want to be like Queen Bee, maybe it's one then the other. Then, put your palms together, fingers together, circle your wrists. If your wrists are popping, that's synovial fluid being like, thank you for remembering that I go in 360 degrees. Take that the other way. And for those of you who saw me with my Kangol, maybe you pop lock. Notice how your fingers feel. Notice how your shoulders feel. This is liberation through finding alignment from getting over bad habits. Pause, chin to chest. Take right ear to right shoulder, left ear to left shoulder. And if you got it in you, make a full circle. Deepen the breath and notice how you feel here and now. Now pause. Come to center, find a seat, tall spine, shoulders back and down. Notice how that simple practice, how accessible it was. Notice the difference it has made in your body. Now for the next 30 seconds, I want you to put in your heart and mind something that has inspired you this week. And from the balance that we just created in community, let's marinate in our inspiration in community. So find a deep breath in through the nose, out through the nose, and marinate in your dream, marinate in your imagination. This is not a rhetorical question. How do you feel right now? That is how close, that's how easy wellness is for us. After that Zoom call, do that. That was a 2.5 minute, that's how easy this is for us. Yet why do we make it so hard? That's a rhetorical question. So in conclusion, I know I'm over time, y'all. That choir, I blame it on the choir. I knew I was going to go to church today. As Brother Eddie reminds us, we must take bold steps in these challenging times so that others may be like, what was that? And I want more of that. Like, can you imagine when people first heard Jimi Hendrix and that riff on Purple Haze? People were like, okay, cool. When Prince said, let's go crazy, people were like, what is that? And some of y'all even said that about the yoga class that you went to the other day. Thank you for coming, by the way. The lotus rises from the mud. The phoenix rises from the ashes. And if we're in a time right now that is both muddy and stricken with ashes, what does that tell you? What's next? If we believe it, we will achieve it, okay? So in these auspicious times, the world needs our unfettered authenticity. It needs our rooted in love and consistent care of self, so we can smash outdated norms and bring the future that we deserve. Do you feel that? That answer sucked. Did you feel that? Yes. Thank you. So look, it's scary, but we have each other. We have history on our side and the fervent desire of the people across the planet for something new. People are just going back to the old stuff because new stuff hasn't been articulated. So for my social change makers, speak your voice so that the people can know that possibility exists. If it's here, ain't that many people clairvoyant. Barry might be the different one because he's a Buddhist monk. But otherwise, we need you to speak your truth. And lastly, we didn't just go through the pandemic to go back to the same old shit, did you? Okay. It is our hope that this experience has given you inspiration to try something new and change your perspective. So for some of you, you may need help modeling that, so I'm going to do that for you. So to change your perspective, you have to have a little courage. Do something that you never thought that you would do. So why not try something new? This is the first headstand I've done in front of 1,000 people in Spain. Take a chance, y'all. Live your life, let your light shine. And with that, I bow before you. Blessings and peace.
Okay. Yeah. That's what's up, man. Oh.
Y'all didn't think I had that in me, did you?
I ran into Reggie early on in the beginning of the week. Oh, is there something else?
I'm sorry about the standing ovation. Sorry. Peace.
I ran into him at the beginning of the week, and one thing he said he can do a head handstand. I was like, you're lying, dude. Lying. But it reminds me of this, how many people get into TikTok rabbit holes? How many people? I saw this video the other day that actually really stuck with me. And this woman opens by saying, I'm going to blow your mind with 2 lines. I was like, yeah, whatever. Then she said, being stuck is not a fact. It's a feeling. You feel stuck. And so you can't move forward because you feel stuck in a place. Then she said, being ready, it's not a feeling, it's a decision. You decide you're ready. And so how many of you will make a decision and say, yes, we can feel stuck, but it's not fact, right? We actually are ready to go out and change the world. So the person who's coming after me is impossible to introduce. This is a gentleman who has such inner grace, such generosity of spirit, and carries an incredibly sharp mind. So I want us to welcome him like a rock star. I don't think he's ever been welcomed like a rock star, right? So all of you get your hands ready. I want us to do a crescendo of claps. So start with 1, so we'll go from 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, 4 fingers, 5, right? And each will clap 5 times. Are we good? And then at the end of it all, we shall yell, just like we do for a rock star, Barry, Barry, Barry. Now you all know who's coming on stage, don't you? All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Barry, 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 Barry.
Well, I'm a Buddhist monk, and I'm working on humility, so this is tough. It's very tough. Yeah. So, I mean, this has just been an incredible several days, just incredible. And what's made it incredible are the people. And that means each and every one of you. Of course, the organizers have been amazing for months and years doing the Wellbeing Project and planning for this, and all of you participating in that. It just blows me away. I wasn't expecting that much. I didn't know what to expect. But from the first day I got here, I started meeting people, and meeting people, and meeting people. And everybody that I met is so incredibly special. From the heart. These are not just words, from the heart. So I want to say a few words about well-being, about coming home, about love and justice. And I'd like to say a few words about sometimes we can't easily come home. There are some blocks in the road. And so doing this self-work to reduce some of those blocks so that we can come home to love is important. We all get angry sometimes, all of us. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help the other person. So we can learn to transform, as Justin said, with nothing left over, into tolerance, into patience. This is possible. This is important. When we're fully angry, we can't do much. We're kind of totally consumed by the emotion. So we have to learn how to recognize our anger early, when we're irritable, tension, shaking, and heart going boom, 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 boom. And then apply a method such as imagine that pre-anger stuff becomes a cloud and it drifts across the sky and completely dissipates and dissolves along with your pre-anger. Of course, it won't work the first time. We've been getting angry since we were little kids. So we have to do this again and again. But if we do, the intensity and frequency of our anger will diminish. And we'll begin to practice patience and tolerance. And the roadblocks to coming home to love will be decreased. It will be easier to come home to love. We all get jealous. We don't feel good when we're jealous. We shrink, we constrict, we contract. Often jealousy is under the radar. We don't notice it. So practice mindfulness. Many of you are already doing this. Look in the present moment. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And when I notice jealousy, you just tell yourself, flip it. Flip it. Flip it into admiration. It's not that difficult when you recognize it. Often we put ourselves down. Sometimes we do the opposite. We put others down. We feel pride and arrogance. This is a lonely existence. All of our good friends walk. We feel we know everything, so we don't listen to others. We don't read. I know it all. It's like solitary confinement. It's an early death. So if you find yourself being arrogant, flip it. Transform it without suppressing the arrogance. Flip it into humility. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., President Nelson Mandela, Saint Mother Teresa, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Mahatma Gandhi, Kendra Brown Jackson Brown. These are people that have incredible humility, and they're powerful. They're change makers, have been, are change makers. It's from humility. The incredible power and strength is in humility, where the ego isn't always me, me, me. It's allowing us to go you, you, you. We come home by reducing the blocks that we've just talked about. I'll throw in one more, which is selfishness. When we're selfish, we're wrapped up into me, me, me. I'm hungry, I need to eat. I'm cold, I need to put on a sweater. My bum hurts, I got a shift in my chair. What am I going to do when this is finished? Always me, me, me. When we begin to reduce these blocks to coming home to love, we start having more concern for the welfare of others. Love, compassion, open heart, open mind. We think we're separate. We're siloed. We see differences all the time. Gender differences, racial differences, language, country of origin. We can go on and on. We see all of these differences. They're there, but they're not important. What's important is something deeper that unites us, that actually makes us one human family, and I would include the animals. It's the wish to be happy. We all want that. We don't want to hurt. We want to be happy. So in that way, on that deeper level, we are all the same. We are, in fact, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama says many times, sisters and brothers in this human family. And we can flourish. We can actually fly. Or at least we can feel like we can fly. But it is also possible to fly. If you work through meditation on managing the internal elements, earth, solidity, liquid, water, heat, fire, wind or movement, and vacuity or space. If you control the element of movement, of air, internally, you control it externally, and then you can, in fact, fly. But we fly with our heart. We fly when we come home to love. We feel like we're flying. Nothing can obstruct us. Unconditional love. Doesn't matter. It's a bunny, it's a piglet, doesn't matter. It's just love. Unconditional, no strings, no expectations. Usually in relationship, I'll love you if you love me. We don't usually say that, but that's how we feel. If you don't love me, I'm not going to love you. Like little children, yeah. Unconditional, doesn't matter. We just love. No fear, no death. This talks about these things in a little more detail. If we want to dive deep into who are we, deeply, who are we? Nagarjuna's wisdom helps us with that journey. And then there's a recent app that came out, Amy Care, on compassion, on mindfulness, transforming burnout into well-being. Amy Care. And I would like to conclude this session, this summit, with gratitude, as I started. Gratitude for all of you, for participating, for the work you do, for all of the incredible organizers, people in front of you and behind you that were invisible. An incredible team. So I'd like you all now to give applause for everyone, including yourselves, who made this an incredible event. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. I do want a hug from him before we start.
Thank you for everything. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Wow. I feel so humble here today. Really.
We've had a whole bunch of people come up to us in the past few days and asked us, have we had the time to enjoy this gathering? The answer is an absolute resounding yes. And so we just want to really say, for us, it's been so extraordinary on so many different levels. And most of all, just seeing this incredible group of people that have journeyed together over the past 3 days. And wow, the last day of the summit.
Woo!
It feels like so much has happened, and it feels like people have been touched, moved, and also that we've had fun together. Does that sound about right to everyone?
When we opened the summit 2 days ago, we invited you to dive in and get to know each other. We have been hoping that this special moment would help us build new relationships between all of us working on inner work and inner well-being in social change. We hope that beautiful new relationships could come to life that could help nourish this work that we all care about.
We've felt this in the air these past few days. Lots of little buds, lots of beautiful things happening. And it's been really, really extraordinary to feel that. It's happened in between the talks, in between the speakers, in between the moments of inspiration. It's happened in between the art and the artists. There's been so much beauty that's unfolded, and we'd like to say thank you. First, we'd like to say thank you to the extraordinary speakers and artists that have taken this journey with us. They have literally blown us away over the past 3 days. Can we all say thank you to these remarkable people? Woo! And this is the beginning of a bit of a list of remarkable people. So there's a few other people that we would really love to say thank you to and acknowledge. All of us have done this together. So the first group that we would really love to thank is the co-creation team of the project. The project sits between 6 institutions: Ashoka, the Impact Hub, Porticus, the Skoll Foundation, Synergos, and our newest co-creator, Georgetown University. I've described them as institutions. It's actually a team, a board of directors, our version of a board of directors, made up of really incredible people. And this is possible because they have walked with us and co-made and co-created this over the past 4 years. Thank you. We'd also love to say thank you to our advisory council. They've been absolutely remarkable. I think at moments over the past 3 or 4 years, they must have wondered why we were asking them about Bilbao and what we should be doing in Bilbao again and again and again. And they've poured so much into this alongside our co-creation team. One of them has even been on stage with us as one of the hosts. And so we'd love to say thank you for the way that they have also dived in and the tremendous guidance that they have brought. Thank you. There's one member on our team that we would love to start with thanking, with whom Sandrine and I began the journey 7 years ago. The very, very seeds of what has grown in the project over the past 7 years. And that is the remarkable Nancy Mortefi. Nancy, would you be up for standing up?
We also want to thank our team, and especially the summit team with their wonderful leaders and curators.
And communications.
And communications. They have done such a wonderful job. I think the spirit is from our badges, where you can, I don't know if you've seen this morning, that you can grow mint of this, and your badge come poppy seeds and chamomile. When you feel a little nervous, just plant those, and you'll have chamomile and poppy seeds coming from your badge. From all these little details and family group creation, etc., they have been the real actors of this summit.
And we want to really recognize the extraordinary leaders of these teams within the project. So there's a duo standing right against the wall over there, Alessandra and Mathilde, really our version of Batman and Batman. I think she's somewhere behind there, and I think we'll ask her to step out now into the light. The curator of the speakers and the content for the summit, Elena Cresia. Elena? Thank you. The arts curator, Manuel Bagoro. Manuel.
Je sais pas s'il est...
Manuel. Come closer, Manuel. And our storytelling lead, Missy Rentz. Missy, would you be up for stepping in? And each of these leaders has had an extraordinary team of people. They're wonderful individuals. All together, they have made this happen. Congratulations. Wow. We made it.
And with them, a wonderful production company, Acciona, and their team, who has done also an amazing work co-creating this with Mathilde and Ale and their team. Also, the local production companies from here and all the different sites where we all have been. Thank you. I don't know where I have to look, but it's everywhere. Thank you very much for everything you've done.
When we started this journey here in Bilbao 4.5 years ago, and the chair of our advisory council is sitting right there in the second row, this seemed, Maite, we had a little bit of an idea of what this would entail, but a very little bit of an idea. It's been an adventure, and it feels extraordinary to be here together with you today.
In between all of that, our sense has been that new conversations have started, new friends have been made, new projects are emerging. Thank you to every one of you for diving in wholeheartedly. We have loved hearing from so many of you what the journey has been like over the past few days. And we have loved hosting you.
So this is a thank you to everyone here. You've all made such tremendous journeys to come. This is happening post-COVID. Is it okay to travel? Post-COVID, during COVID. Is it okay to travel? What will it be like? It feels so strange after 2 years. Thank you for your decision to step in. Thank you for joining us. We'd love to ask for a round of applause for everyone here.
We are excited to see what will emerge over the next weeks and months. Our hope at the beginning of the summit was that we could take a big step forward together, a big step towards a culture of inner work and inner well-being at the heart of social change. And in the most beautiful way possible, it feels like the seeds and threads of that are emerging. And that feels really, really exciting.
So the thing is, summits like this are high points. They nourish us, they feed us, they build the foundation. It's also the work afterwards that really matters. And so for us, that work is the work that truly builds a culture shift and a movement. Our commitment to you is to continue to support and nourish that. It is the essence of our role as the Wellbeing Project, to support connecting everyone working on this cultural shift, to strengthen all the organizations' initiatives in this space, so we can make it possible for all of us to advance together. We are really, really excited to play that role in service of us all.
We will be looking at different ways that we can continue to keep everyone connected. We will share more broadly and collectively what we are all doing, to begin to host us more profoundly as a collective community. And we are really glad for your suggestions and help in doing so. This is a collective project and a collective cultural shift and movement.
There's a line that has stayed present for us as we've done our work, and very much in mind and very much in heart. The next Buddha will be a community. The next Buddha will be a community. And that feels very much like the call to each and every one of us. Together, we can build that community. And so meet this moment in the world with the best of who we are as humans. And so move much more close to bringing to life the world that we all want to see.
What I personally love about this possibility is that it is very much a collective vision. It's not about any one of us, it's about all of us.
And we are deeply, deeply excited to walk with you and work with you to bring this to life. The journey continues, and it continues together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We had one last piece of homework that we were supposed to do before we walked off. There is an extraordinary performance that's following us, so we really, really wanted to ask you to stay and wait for that. It's going to be a moment of magic. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. You're the most intelligent. Yeah.
Okay. Bum, ba-da, bum, ba-bum, bum, ba-da, bum, bum, ba-da, bum, ba-da, bum, da-da-da-da, bum, bum, ba-da-da-da, bum, bum, da-da-da-da, bum, bum.
Start spreading the news. Yes, we're leaving today. Right through the very heart of it. Bilbao, Bilbao. And since we just came up with that idea right now,
Literally.
write the rest of the lyrics
Yes.
and send them to us, okay? And so that we can already make the anthem for the
next summit.
Yes, for the next summit. Very
We
good.
literally, he just said it in like as we were about saying, start spreading. Thank you so much for each and every one of you from coming from all over the world. May you be well. Remember to drink lots of water, eat healthy food, take care of yourself, be in the presence of nature, and always, always have an appointment with your hearts.
And just because you said water, you know where I'm going with this, right?
All right, go.
You're 70% water in your body, 82.5% water in your brain.
Yes.
Be water.
And if you allow me, I would add to that, play to flow.
Play to flow.
And as we end, our prayers for you is to remember the cause does not require you to self-sacrifice. The cause we are working on does not require us to self-sacrifice. So may you play until you need to rest, and rest until you need to play. And all else shall come through.
All else will flow.
Now that you've said
With
that,
that,
Zaina, now that you've said it, could we leave them a little souvenir?
Let's play,
Okay,
let's
so
play.
this is, everybody goes like this. Yeah.
You're getting
and
homework
the doors are
now.
locked. Okay. So now you go like this. Okay. And then, I'm sorry. You go like this. Okay. You close your fists. Then right finger comes up, and when it points to the left, ta-da, 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 ta-da,
Ta-da,
ta-da.
ta-da.
Start again. Da, da, da. So together once, just for the sake of the ritual, because that is a goodbye curse that you find yourself all the time doing that. So 1, 2, 3, and dun, da-dum, 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 da-dum. Yes, very good.
and with this, we want to leave you with a musical instrument. Oh,
Yes.
did I just
Emmeline Michelle. Emmeline Michelle and friends.
Emmeline, Michelle, and friends. Oh, hi, friends.
They will take us out.
Dance, dance, ladies and gentlemen. Thank
you very much. Safe
Ciao,
trips home.
galera.
mwen te Tando cantonado Dio ya uleva guerra mwen Dio ya uleva guerra mwen Gen logan sa fongen di gogan l'amidon Sak fa pela veneke
Sak faut pas laver, laver ça qui sale, que c'est jeune qui marronne. Sak faut pas laver, laver, nègre. Summit. Oh my God, I'm so blessed to be with you. You are, please be seated. Be seated. You are that change we all been waiting for. And I feel that this is hopeful. Please turn around and talk to your neighbor and say, this is not the ending, this is the beginning. Yes, the beginning of what you're gonna make of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. I want to, first of all, say a special one for Tom Cabanis. The real proof of generosity. Thank you so much for being with us today. On piano, louder. I bumped into him and I said, can you please play some piano on our first song? And he said, where is the rehearsal? And he didn't ask me to talk to his manager. So, on guitar, Dominic James. On bass, Donnie Felix. On drum, Hermano Rudino. On conga, Jean-Guy René. We met someone that says, where is home? And automatically your mind races. And I think for me, home is that little island in the Caribbean that is struggling for peace, but that had given me so much resilience, taking things one day at a time and make the best of what I have right now. Home is like Caridad in Haiti. Nous venons contre pas pour pas, nous juste nous pas capable. Nous pas croiser, pas tous amis nous yo boisé. C'était longtemps la caridade, bon bah me voir un petit bourrade. Je peux m'en causer qu'à parler à la cause libre à cause. Zibi zibi zibi, y'a bisou. Zibi zibi zibi. Mais l'amour n'a changé la rencontre chaque jour en cachette. Elle ça te goût. Zibi zibi zibi, des moun fous. I'm l'amour, pour aimer l'amour. Des m'giles qui cablier. Yes, please, please, please kindly ask to someone and dance. Yes, wonderful. That's it. Cesar. It looks so great. That's right. Baguette un jour nous te raté, trop vite qu'on n'a qu'à répéter. Puis belle main qui démarrait la quartier. Sous pas oublier, papa t'a travail qu'on naïf. Maman visi a fait le lessive. J'oublie mon cousin qui a parlé à la cause, libre à la cause. Zibi zibi zibi, y'a un bisou. Mais l'amour n'a changé la rencontre chaque jour en cachette. Alors ça te goût. Zibi zibi zibi, des mots fous. Mais l'amour, pour aimer l'amour, des mille qui cablier. La la, la 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 la. La 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 la, c'est ça. La 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 la, I see you. La 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 la, j'y pondoré. Samaniga qui fait un or. Samaniga, connais sous côté. Samaniga, I would like a choir. Samaniga, can you say Samaniga? Samaniga, Samaniga.
Your turn. Summer nigga. Summer nigga. Beautiful. Summer nigga. Keep it up. Keep it up. Chipondo. Keep it up. Keep it up. Before. Before. Louder. Beautiful. Wow. Wicked choir. Let's go. Summer nigga. Uh-huh. Summer nigga. Yeah. You work so hard. Listen. Let it go. Dance with it. Let's go. I want this solo Dominic. Here we go again. Oh wow. Uh-huh. Chipondo. Ivetana. This is gorgeous. Summer nigga. In the back. Let me hear you. Yes. Chipondo. Ivetana. Ivetana. Give it up. Give it up. I know why. One last time. Chipondo. Ivetana. Ivetana. Summer nigga. Summer nigga. Summer nigga. Bravo to you. You just design, you just draw the perfect world. Thank you. Thank you for dancing. Now, all the lesson, all the reading, and the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful session you put together, I'm gonna invite on this song, Falou. Falou. Our world is perfect when we can see the other exactly how we want to be seen. We would like, yeah, more monitor.
Hi, everybody. Namaste.
You having a vocal?
Yeah, this is a little bit more, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Thank you.
This song is Inshallah. We dream about a world where there's no frontier, no more frontier.
Dieu blesse ça là, ça bon Dieu blesse ça moins bleu. Tout partout sur la terre, les gens m'ont fait la guerre pour joindre la paix. Moi pas blé bien qu'elle sauter, même si le monde est agité. Nos mi-temps crasés, brisés, là-bas moi y'en est pour nous sauver. Inch'Allah.
Inshallah, inshallah,
Si le soleil moins sont tombés, en tourbillon t'a réveillé, et la vie moins chamboulée. Je ne suis pas ébranlé, tout est écrit comme il a déjà vu.
Regama pa ma pa ma pa ma pa da da pa ma pa da da pa ma pa da da pa ma pa regama gama pa ma pa da ni Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Please put your hands together for Valu.
Namaste.
I don't think we need to add any more words. We can cohabitate, enjoy, love each other, respect each other, and it's just perfect. Again, Valu. I want to thank Manuel Mbogo because he's one of the reasons, he's the main reason I'm here. We have worked on so many projects, and I want to say really thank you for seeing, for projecting with all the team here that was so hard. Please, please, please encourage him. Let them know you're coming out with something, you're going home with something that will change your world. This one is about joy. Beyond everything, we need joy, and keep dancing. Bam la joie. Bon Dieu, Baba mwen chayou gwen pa kapote, bon Dieu. Béni Maxa l'argent pas acheter, la force pour me retremper, patience pour me joindre. Ça ou c'est vrai pour moi. Tant pis bon Dieu, corée la femme béni ma cœur posé. Bam la clavance pour moi cabre ranger. Dans sa camp pour river, la même vie moins tracée. Bam l'abondance, quand au moins ouais assez. Si me la fait
ça m'a demandé. Papa t'en prie, s'il vous plaît. Pomme la joie. Pomme la joie. It says, give me joy. Pomme la joie. Pomme la joie. Bon Dieu, ratiboisé, l'envie la vanité. Depuis que l'ennemi a empêché de marcher. Pomme l'humilité pour l'orgueil, belle limité. Bon Dieu. Comme la compassion pour me bailler avec passion. Pour me toujours songer comme un grand goût voulé. La grâce ou tomber pour me pas oublier séparer. That's the spirit, come up. Bam l'abondance, grand goût ouais assez. Si me la paix la guerre terrassée. Les méchants même soufflés, sa vie avec. À côté de tout ça, mon Dieu. Everybody, bombe la joie, give me joy. Bombe la joie, whoa. Bombe la joie, bombe la joie, bombe la joie. C'est ça. Avec you. Whoa, I feel like I'm somewhere in Haiti. Mama, this is tight. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Give me joy. Give me joy. Oh, give me joy. Give me joy. Let's see how you go through that. dub. Yes, mama. Passa a boca, service all yeah. Mambalacha. Guys, I have a number that's saying time is up. Let me help you. Do you want this one? Oh my God. Manuel, time is up. What are we doing? You want more? We shall have more. Before we have more, there are people you don't see in the back that have worked so hard. Sound, really the light. Please, please let them know you appreciate them. Thank you. I witnessed a powerhouse lady, anointed, and she was talking to the choir, and I started crying because she said, do not let the light and the bangles make you forget your purpose. Why we are here is to be our authentic self. Do not let that pass by. So I want you to put your hands together for Songs of Solomon. Yes, I am so blessed. I'm so blessed to have met them. Mika on piano and Bishop Wright. You can't go wrong. I know I'll never be alone again. The day I place my future in your hands, your love carried me day by day. I'm no longer afraid. I know I am safe. You brighten up the picture of my life. You kept me strong when everything went wrong. I know you're not too far away. When I need light to find my way, you're there. Shiner, shana na 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 yeah, shana na 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 yeah. Oh, you bless me. Shana na 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 yeah, shana na 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 répondait de mon ciel. La prison de la peur m'avait coupé les ailes. Du pavé tu m'as relevé, sur le roc adressé les pieds. Merci. Ma vie entre tes mains s'est rallumée. Mes soupirs en ce chant sont transformés. Tes promesses sont vérité, je ne cesserai jamais de chanter. Sha-na-na-na-na, iya, sha-na-na-na-na, iya, iya. Sha-na-na-na-na, iya, sha-na-na-na-na, iya, iya. Please put your hands together for Song of Salmon, Bishop Wright. Oh my God, yes. Sha-na-na-na-na-ee-ya, sha-na-na-na-na-ee-ya. One more time. Yes. Be the light. Be that light in your world. It's needed now. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for the band. We're in trouble because the screen went off completely. So that's mean we are really overdoing it. Manuel, are we allowed? We? Sha-na-na-na-na-ee-ya. Oh. Sha-na-na-na-na-ee-ya. Sha-na-na-na-na-ee-ya. We have a wonderful lady on standby here. Yes, absolutely. It's now. We're gonna call a beautiful lady from Zimbabwe. That was really, and she's gonna share the song called "Is Hope Masike" in the house. Yes, and her name. We're gonna put our hands. Yes. Hope Masike. Let's go by. Là où j'ai fait banda, tout un soleil va lever. Là où j'ai fait banda, tout un soleil va lever. Là où j'ai fait banda, tout un soleil va lever. Là où j'ai fait banda, tout un soleil va lever. Là où j'ai fait banda, tout un soleil va lever. Là où j'ai fait banda, tout un soleil va lever. Là où j'ai fait banda, tout un soleil va lever. Là où j'ai fait banda, tout un soleil va lever. The question for hope. What is nature? This is about the morning dew. Sometimes you have to just stop asking the question and contemplate and enjoy the drip of water in a rose. What does that mean for you?
Morning dew in my country represents a fresh start. So every morning you have the chance to fix what you didn't do yesterday properly. You have a chance to look after your environment better. It means we've been given a chance to fix things. Morning dew.
Oh, Masike.
So as we celebrate the morning dew, an opportunity to fix things, an opportunity to look after our environment, each morning a fresh start, we will do a dance for you. And it's a collaboration, so you're going to see dances from my country, dances from her country. We'll see what comes out.
Now we want to see you dance. I saw something so nice you were doing. Let me see it again. Because we're learning from you too. Let me see you. Anybody have a special dance for us? Come on up. Come on up. Ah. Woo. It's obvious you want to dance the sub bar. Let's go. Là où c'est fait banda, tout un soleil va lever. Là où c'est fait banda, tout un va lever. Là où c'est fait banda, là où c'est fait banda. Hope, 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 Masike. This time we're really gonna live. We're gonna leave because we want to be re-invited to the second summit. I want to say thank you to Julio. Adorable. You are just a precious soul. You've been really helpful. We're going to do one last one and we out. bêtiser, moun savait dire nous pas sauver, personne ne va empêcher ou rêver. Réveillons bel bateau descend, ramasse tout le monde qui t'aime, pour y aller faire un bel fête ensemble. I'm gonna need the choir in front. Say, Akaikao, Akaikao. No rehearsal needed. Tout pays, dans les mondes arrivés réunis, comme couillon paradis. Nous ingénions paroles, on langage de musique, on les redit. On dit moi faire magie. Kembela. Même si c'est vrai nous bêtiser, on savait dire nous pas sauver, personne ne peut empêcher me rêver. Réveillons bel bateau descendre, ramasser tout le monde qui t'attend, pour y aller faire une belle fête ensemble, pour nous chanter Akaikao, 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 yeah, Akaikao. Si tout le monde tout paye, dans le monde qui arrive réunis, dans couillon paradis. Nous ingénions paroles, on engage musique, on mélodie. Anti-moi faire magie. Come up, come up. Come up, come up, come up. Come up. Ooh, come up, come up. Yeah. My goodness. Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. You are enough, my friend. I want to be downstairs. Goodbye, guys. Hey, God bless you all. Be yourself. Be the light. May God bless you all.